Have you ever had this thought? You worked out hard yesterday, but today, you feel absolutely no muscle soreness, and you start wondering, wait, did I even work out properly? Or maybe you've worried, if I'm not sore, does that mean my muscles aren't growing? I used to have these exact same concerns when I started working out. Especially as a beginner, whenever I didn't feel sore the day after exercising. I felt this weird guilt, like I had somehow skipped my workout. But after 15 years as a trainer and analyzing the latest exercise physiology research, I discovered something absolutely mind-blowing. The relationship between muscle soreness and workout effectiveness is completely different from what we've been led to believe. Once you learn this truth, it will completely change how you think about exercise. First, let's understand what muscle soreness actually is. The muscle pain you feel after working out is medically called delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS. This refers to the pain and stiffness that begins 12 to 24 hours after exercise and can last anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. But here's where it gets interesting. Our long-held beliefs about what causes muscle soreness have been completely wrong. For decades, people thought muscle soreness was caused by lactic acid buildup. However, the current exercise science community has completely discarded this theory. According to research published by the University of California's Exercise Physiology Department, lactic acid is almost completely cleared from muscles within 30 minutes to an hour after exercise, while muscle soreness appears much later and lasts much longer. This means lactic acid and muscle soreness are completely unrelated phenomena. So what really causes muscle soreness? The most widely accepted theory today is muscle fiber damage. During exercise, microscopic damage occurs to muscle fibers. And as the body repairs this damage, an inflammatory response occurs, which causes the pain we feel. But here's the shocking plot twist. Groundbreaking research from the University of Texas Exercise Science Department shows that there's virtually no correlation between the degree of muscle soreness and muscle growth. In a 12-week study involving 120 adults, they compared muscle mass gains between a group that experienced intense soreness and a group that felt almost none. The difference between the two groups was not statistically significant. Even more shocking are the results from the University of São Paulo in Brazil. Among people who did identical workouts, the degree of muscle soreness varied completely from person to person. Some people experienced extreme soreness, while others felt nothing at all, despite exercising at the same intensity. But when they measured strength and muscle mass increases after 3 months, there was no meaningful difference between the groups. What does this mean? It means that the absence of muscle soreness absolutely does not indicate a lack of workout effectiveness. In fact, experts believe that obsessing over muscle soreness can actually interfere with proper training. So what are the real indicators of workout effectiveness? First is progressive overload. If you can lift heavier weights than before, do more repetitions, or exercise for longer periods, that's clear evidence that your workouts are working. Let me share a real case study. I trained a client named Mike, a 30-year-old office worker, who was concerned after a month of training because he rarely felt muscle soreness. He asked me, "Am I doing something wrong? I never feel sore anymore." But when we looked at his workout log, the progress was undeniable. In his first week, he could only do 10 bodyweight squats. But after a month, he was doing 15 reps with a 45-pound dumbbell. His bench press went from just the empty bar to 135 pounds. This was concrete evidence of workout effectiveness. The second indicator is changes in body composition. Increases in muscle mass and decreases in body fat percentage can be accurately measured through methods like DEXA scans or bioelectrical impedance analysis. These are much more objective and accurate indicators than muscle soreness. The third indicator is changes in daily life. If you're less winded climbing stairs, if lifting heavy objects requires less effort, or if sitting all day doesn't make your back ache as much, all of these are clear signals of exercise benefits. But this raises another important question. Why does muscle soreness occur, and what's the difference between when you have it and when you don't? Research from the University of Melbourne's Sports Science Department shows that muscle soreness is determined by several factors. First is exercise novelty. When you try new exercises or restart exercises after a long break, muscle soreness tends to be more severe. Second is the ratio of eccentric contractions. Movements where muscles lengthen while generating force, like the lowering phase of squats or bringing the bar down during bench press, tend to cause more soreness. Third is individual genetic characteristics. Some people feel muscle soreness intensely, while others barely notice it, even after identical workouts. This is due to differences in genes involved in inflammatory responses. Fourth is exercise experience. People who have been exercising for a long time feel less soreness from the same intensity workout. This is called the repeated bout effect, where muscles adapt to exercise stimuli and experience less damage and inflammation. Now let's talk about practical advice for those worried about not feeling sore. First, check if your exercise intensity is appropriate. Just because you're not sore doesn't mean you need to increase intensity immediately. But if the workout feels too easy, gradually increasing intensity would be beneficial. For example, if you're using a weight you can lift 15 times, try adjusting to a weight that challenges you around 12 reps. Second, add variety to your workouts. Even when targeting the same muscles, exercising from different angles and with different methods can provide new stimuli. For instance, if you always do barbell squats, try adding goblet squats or Bulgarian split squats. Third, emphasize eccentric contractions. Focus on the lowering portion of movements, making them slower and more controlled than the lifting phase. This can provide greater stimulus to your muscles. However, the crucial point here is that muscle soreness itself should never be your goal. Research from the University of Cologne's Exercise Science Department compared a group that intentionally tried to induce muscle soreness through excessive exercise with a group that exercised consistently at appropriate intensities. Long-term, the latter group showed better results. Excessive muscle soreness can actually interfere with your training. Severe soreness might force you to skip workouts for several days, or make it difficult to maintain proper form during your next session. In exercise, where consistency is paramount, this can be a fatal flaw. So when should you be concerned about muscle soreness? Normal muscle soreness appears 12 to 72 hours after exercise and gradually subsides. However, acute pain that appears immediately after exercise, pain lasting more than a week, or pain that seriously interferes with daily activities could be signs of injury. It's also important to know how to properly handle muscle soreness when it occurs. Light cardio or stretching can improve blood circulation and aid recovery. Research shows that active recovery is more effective than complete rest. Massage and foam rolling also help. Research from Stanford University's medical school found that groups who foam rolled after exercise experienced approximately 30% faster relief from muscle soreness compared to those who didn't. Sleep is crucial too. Most muscle recovery happens during deep sleep, when growth hormone is primarily secreted to aid muscle repair and growth. Nutrition is another essential factor. Protein intake is particularly important, with recommendations of 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Consuming protein and carbohydrates together within 30 minutes to 2 hours after exercise can aid muscle recovery. Antioxidant nutrients also help. Vitamin C, vitamin E, and omega-3 fatty acids can reduce inflammation and promote recovery. However, research shows that obtaining these nutrients from food is more effective than supplements. Let me address some common misconceptions about muscle soreness. The first misconception is, the more sore you are, the better your workout was. This is completely wrong. Muscles can grow adequately with appropriate stimulation without excessive soreness. The second misconception is, you should never exercise when you're sore. With mild muscle soreness, exercising at reduced intensity can actually aid recovery. However, Severe pain requires adequate rest. The third misconception is muscle soreness gets worse with age. Actually, exercise experience and current fitness level are more important factors than age. Here are specific ways to confirm workout effectiveness, even without muscle soreness. First, keep a workout log. Record the weights, reps, and sets for each exercise, and compare with previous sessions. Progressive improvement is definite proof of effectiveness. Second, take progress photos. Take pictures in the same pose and lighting weekly or bi-weekly. Visual changes are often clearer than scale numbers. Third, conduct fitness tests. Once a month, do maximum push-ups or hold a plank as long as possible. Improvements in these basic fitness measures are good indicators of exercise effectiveness. I hope all of you have healthy and effective workouts. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and share your workout experiences or questions in the comments. Let's build a proper exercise culture together.